some memes for you to show. Te quiero mucho, Latinoamericana. I love you very much, Latin America. Te quiero mucho, Latinoamericana. This one is absolutely classic. Like, bro, insane. We do not want your kind out here, boy. Crazy. Hola, mi amigos y amigas. Bienvenido a mi video. And today I'll be doing practicing some Spanish. So I had this idea to start making videos of me practicing Spanish. And there's this one app that I really want to show off. Now, this is not sponsored, first of all. This is not a sponsored video, but I thought it would be a really cool idea to do this because this app is called Language Transfer, and I think that the whole idea of how language is being taught in there is genius. I think it's really great. And obviously this method that I'm gonna show can't be applied to all the languages. This is more related to, if you know English, first of all, you have to know English, and it's only applied to like Latin and Germanic languages. I feel like obviously the same method could be applied if you're, for example, you speak a Slavic language and you're learning another Slavic language, but when it comes to this method, it really works for again, Germanic and Latin languages. So now this video is gonna be not me doing like exercises, it's not gonna be me reading Spanish, it's gonna be about conversations and forming sentences. So it's not writing, it's not that much grammar, it's just trying to think how to speak Spanish. Conversations. And the app itself teaches European Spanish. Now, I myself find Latin Spanish to be easier to pronounce, so I'm learning this European Spanish, but with a Latin Latin American pronunciation. Because in European Spanish you have a lot of conversación, something like that. No, for me it's conversación. That's way easier. So again, I'm not selling the app, but I think it's just really good, and I'm gonna show you the first lesson, and then I'm gonna move on to the lesson that I am currently at, which is lesson number 10, I believe. So I'll play those two lessons, and I think it's gonna be enough time for a video because I do pause a lot and I do ask a lot of questions to myself, even though no one's gonna answer them. But in a video format, it's gonna be a little bit different. So anyways, oh yeah, I'm actually gonna start with lesson number 2 because lesson number 1 is just an introductory. It doesn't teach anything, it just speaks. Now again, this is gonna be I'm not trying to steal anyone's work. This app is completely free, you can download it yourself, so I'm more just I can't remember what his name is, but he kind of stopped doing this. He stopped updating the courses, but I hope he continues, and maybe he will see this, and I'm not stealing anything, I'm just showing off how good your work is. And so I'm gonna start with the second lesson because again, number 1 is just introductory, and then I'm gonna move on to my own lesson I'm currently at, which is gonna be number 10, and I'm gonna pause whenever necessary. I'm gonna whenever I want to add something. There's also gonna be a lot of pausing, so there's gonna be a lot of deconstruction. So again, please no copyright strikes. Anyway, so this is Spanish. Oops. Número 2. Anyway.
English and Spanish are two related languages. English is considered a Germanic language, but it's kind of half Latin. We have a huge amount of Latin vocabulary in English.
Very true.
And this Latin vocabulary, we can convert it over to Spanish really easily, because Spanish is practically modern Latin. Whoever said Latin is a dead language lied. Just in the same way that Greek is a modern version of ancient Greek, Spanish is like a modern version of Latin. It's actually a street Latin.
Street Latin.
Spanish. So we can identify Latin words in English, and we can, with just some rule or other, convert them over to Spanish, and this will give us around 3,000 words. I think
in theory 3,000 words, but I've noticed it doesn't always tend to be the case. I can't remember any exact examples, but there were times where it's like a little bit different, like explanation, actually explanation, explicación. It's explicación, so it's a bit different. Explain would be explicar, so a slight difference.
Them, but they are around 3,000 words. So, for example, one of these rules is that words ending in al tend to come from Latin, so we can make them Spanish.
Metal,
so
global.
For example, normal.
Normal.
Spanish is normal.
Normal.
Normal. Good. What do you notice different between?
But you see, it's like the genius of that method. It's like words that end in al transfer over to Spanish. Words that end in tion, shin, convert over to Spanish. Conversation, conversación, exploration, exploración. I think so. I don't know. I just thought of a word, exploration. It has to be exploración, right? Using the language transfer method. That's why, like, you never think of this stuff. But it's genius, isn't it? It's such a clever way to teach a language, isn't it?
Normal and normal.
Normal.
Well, the accent.
What do you mean by the accent?
Well, where the sound is stressed.
Good.
With which vowel it's stressed.
Where's it stressed in English?
On the O.
Good. At the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Normal,
Yeah,
normal. And in Spanish, we're stressing the end,
Mal.
right?
Yeah.
Normal.
Yeah. Normal.
So if we assume the same happens with other words, how do you think you would say metal?
Metal.
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 To get a perfect accent in Spanish, we just need to pronounce all of the vowels exactly as they are written. So A, E, I, O, U. In Spanish is A, E, I, O, U. Where in English, the vowel, it can have many different sounds. Like if you look at the A sound in apple or in
Pronounced by
mare,
different ways.
it's very
Yeah.
different sound. But A in Spanish is always going to be A. E is always going to be E. So if you pronounce the vowels as they're written, not these kind of, these
Only the V sound is sometimes for me confusing, because it can be like, nueve, new. That's a V sound. But then you can have like bear. It's written with a V, but pronounced bear. But then you can have like boy, right? It's written with a V, but you say boy. Soy boy, I'm going.
English vowels that we get. Then we get a perfect Spanish accent.
Normal. Metal.
Perfect. So we can begin to make sentences with this already. The word for is in
Es.
Spanish is es.
Es.
S.
S. And this also means it is, she is, he is, or even you are talking to somebody formally. So now we
But when it comes to describing something or someone, when you describe something or someone, it's está. Yeah.
can say he is normal, she is normal.
Es normal.
Es normal.
Yeah, es normal. And you pronounced an S, which is excellent. English speakers should beware that maybe they feel themselves pronouncing a Z, because many times we have an S in English, like in the word is, and we pronounce a Z. So you might find slipping out es, but it's
Not me
incorrect.
on
You
that.
should be careful to pronounce an S. S. Es normal. Good. How would you say legal?
Legal.
Legal.
Yeah, legal. So how would you say it is legal?
Es legal.
Es legal.
No es legal.
Illegal.
Illegal.
Ilegal.
Illegal. Good. So here in English, like we have an I and an E producing the same sound. Illegal. The I and the E is producing the same sound. So this is really confusing if you want to learn English. But in Spanish, you're not going to have these problems.
Yeah, actually, just as a side note, I feel like if I didn't know English, if I didn't learn English since I was a little boy, I feel like it would be very hard to learn English. Imagine like a word like those two words, Pacific Ocean. Pacific Ocean. You literally say the C sound in 3 different ways. So yeah, it's like I think relearning English as an adult would be I don't know, interesting.
The I is like in ink, and the E is like in elephant. Illegal. Illegal. So it is
Illegal.
illegal.
Es ilegal.
Es ilegal.
Good. Es illegal. What if you wanted to say he is liberal? You don't need the word for he if you know who you're talking about. You
Es
can just
liberal.
use Es.
Es liberal.
Yeah, es liberal. Now, Spanish is much more phonetic than English. What that means is that the letters are going to represent the same sound, where English has a million rules and a million exceptions to those rules. And I mean, it's really hard even for native English speakers often to understand how to pronounce a new word when they see it written.
yeah.
But you're not going to have that problem in Spanish.
You can kind of guess though in English if you learned a lot of English, you can guesstimate.
So you know natural, and you don't just
Natural.
want to change the accent and say natural. This is not Spanish. You want to think how is it written and pronounce the letters as they are. So how do you think you would say natural in Spanish?
Natural.
Natural.
Natural. Good, that's a T. So you pronounce a T. A is like A.
Because in my own language, Lithuanian, T is T. So it's a lot easier in that sense. I'm used to that.
U is like U. Natural. Very good. And the accent on the end as well. It's natural.
Es natural.
Es natural.
Es natural. If you want to say it isn't or it's not,
No es.
the word for not or don't is the same as the word for no. And the word for no in Spanish is the same as the word for no in English.
No.
You pronounce it like it's Spanish. So how do you think you say no in Spanish?
No.
No. Good. And you put this before is, if you want to say it is not, he is not, she is not, you.
That's sometimes confusing to me.
So how would that sound? It is not.
No
No
es.
No es. Good. So now we can say things like it's not normal.
No es normal.
No es normal.
No es normal. How would you say ideal? So really think about how it's
Ideal.
spelled and try and pronounce each of those vowels as they are written. I like ink, E like elephant, A like apple.
Ideal.
Good. Ideal. How would you say it's ideal?
Es ideal.
Es ideal.
Es ideal. It's not ideal.
No es ideal.
No es ideal.
And you can also pause yourself. If you're learning Spanish, you can also, follow along as well. And be sure to download the app if you want to continue doing that.
No es ideal. Perfect.
Also, yeah, I'm not talking much for now because I've been through this lesson. This one is easy. This is like the easiest one. So in the current one, the one I'm currently at, I'm gonna play. There's gonna be a lot more blabbering on my part probably. Anyway,
How would you say fatal?
fatal.
Fatal.
Fatal. Good. Natal.
What?
Natal.
Natal. Natal.
Natal.
Natal.
Natal.
Good.
What the hell is natal? Anyway,
Colonial.
colonial,
Colonial.
Colonial.
colonial,
Cultural.
cultural,
Cultural.
cultural,
So think about how it's written.
Cultural.
Yes. And perfect
Cultural.
Spanish accent, huh? Cultural. Very nice. Annual.
anual,
Anual.
Annual.
Annual.
And you cut this Y sound that comes in English. Annual. Annual. This Y sound comes
year is año, right? Año. Año año or year. Anual, anual.
from nowhere in English and you cut it out because you focused on how it's written. Anual. Very nice. Dental.
Dental,
Dental.
Tooth in Spanish is diente.
dient.
So this is coming from dental. So
But you can see like how you can, if you really think about it, you can really form that way a lot of simple sentences already, right? It feels like you can start forming sentences just from this one lesson to a degree.
you look up tooth in the dictionary and you find diente, rather than treating it as like a random piece of vocabulary that you have to memorize, you can relate it back to dental. Ah, okay, like dental, it comes from there. And this is useful for memory. A couple more. Festival.
Festival?
Festival.
No. Festival, right? Festival. Because the V is like a B. Festival.
Personal.
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 Good. Total.
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 Total. Good. Verbal.
Okay, so it's verbal. But hold on. Verbal. So that's my question as well. If obviously I say verbal, I would be understood. But technically it has to be verbal. And that's all the thing with me is like with Spanish, sometimes it is a bit like English, that especially with the V sound, sometimes you have to guess. Is it a V, like in nueve, or is it a B sound, like verbal? No, not verbal. Verbal.
Verbal.
Verbal. So if we wanted to say
Says it's
verb,
fine.
we might not have a rule to convert that word over. But if we know verbal is verbal,
Verbo.
we can guess
Verbo.
that the verb is probably going to be the same in Spanish. And most of the time, words are either the same that we don't have a rule. Maybe we need to stick an O or an E or an A on the end, so we can make a guess. How do you think you say verb in Spanish?
Verbo.
Verbo.
Yeah, that's right. So with structure, with the building, when we're going to be making sentences with these words, we don't ever want to guess. We want to take our time and think it through. But with vocabulary, we can happily guess and try. Imagine we said verba, for example, and they would look at us funny and they would go, verbo. And when that person says, verbo, then we learn, okay,
Yeah.
this is the right word. And it's the best way to learn quickly.
Yeah, it's very true as well, because like I feel like, especially if you're just a beginner, you're gonna be like, you're gonna be speaking like a caveman. You're gonna speaking almost like Yoda. Me want this. Me look this. It's gonna be a lot more like that. Anyway, so now I'm gonna move on. That was lesson 2. Lesson number 1 was just an introduction. It wasn't teaching anything. So now I'm gonna move on to my own lesson. There's 90 lessons. I'm on lesson number 10. This one is 12 minutes. So yeah, we're just gonna try to begin. So I'll focus more on this than the video, because I tend to do really bad at multitasking. So if I'm quiet for a long time, sorry. But again, the conversation itself is pretty relaxing as well to me. I'm not gonna lie, it's quite relaxing. It's not stressful at all. So yeah, anyway, lesson 10. Let's begin.
How would you say to ventilate?
Okay, so ventilation, so would be ventilación, so it has to be ventilar.
Ventilar.
Yeah,
But B.
ventilación, ventilar. How would you say to separate?
Separar, because separation would be separación, so separar. Again, I don't know. I'm just guessing using the method. It's freaking genius, isn't it?
Separar.
Separar.
Good. Separar. So in English, what we pronounce is separate, maybe like an E sound, but if you look at how it's written, it's an A. Separar. Good. So, how was to know?
Saber.
Something to do with savi,
Saber.
saber,
Saber.
with a B. Another way to remember this is Homo sapien. There's that connection there. The Homo sapien is the wise creature, supposedly. And how was to come?
Anyway. Venir.
Convenient.
Venir.
Venir. Good. So we can
Convenient would be conveniente. Convenient. Conveniente. Because like conveniente, I believe. Yeah, anyway.
remember that convenient is with coming. When things come together, they are convenient. We've seen
Venir.
the two forms of the verb end in R, and the I form most of the time ends in O. For example, I want, how was that?
Quiero.
Quiero.
Quiero. I owe, which we can use like must.
Debo.
Debo.
Debo. Deber.
I try.
Intento.
Intento.
Intento. Unless the verb is irregular, and we know some irregular.
Irregular.
And we know some irregular verbs already. We saw I am going,
Boy.
Voi.
Voi. So that doesn't end in
But it's boy again. That's my... Yeah, it's boy, though. I don't know why they say it with a V. That's my only, like, real questionable thing, because it's with a B. You say boy. It's written with a V, but you say boy, not boy.
an O or an O.
Wait, I have to go back.
The verb is irregular, and we know some irregular verbs already. We saw I am going,
Voi.
voi. So that doesn't end in O or in O. Boy. It's an irregular verb. So how does this work? Now, all verbs in their to form, when we say to go, to want, to segregate. How
Segregación. Segregación.
would you say to segregate?
So, segregar. Segregar.
Segregation. Segregación. Segregar.
There you are. All of them in
Segregar.
their to
Segregación. Segregar. Yeah.
form end in the letter R. They either end in AR, ER, or IR. We have an example of each. We have like 1,000 examples of the ones that end in AR, because this is the rule that we're using to build these from, for example, simulation, simulación,
Simulación. Simular.
respiration,
Respiración. Respirar.
respiration, respirar. What do you think respirar means?
Respirate.
To breathe.
Yes, to breathe. So we could say to respire, really literally. We go, oh, of course, this would be how I would say breathe in Spanish. Respirar. Good. So we have many examples of our verbs. We have
Respirar. But you have respiración. Respiration. Breathing. Breathing. Respiración. Breathing. Respirar. So he or she is breathing. Breathing would be es respiración. He or she is breathing. Es respiración. Anyway.
many examples of our verbs. We have one example of an er verb in its to form, which is to know. How was that? To know.
Saber.
Saber.
Saber. And we have the example of the verb ending ir,
But you can also have, like, yeah, to want, querer, anyway.
which is to come.
Venir.
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 Good. So all two forms are going to end in an R, and it's either going to be ar, er, or ir. A-R, E-R, I-R. In fact, I'm talking about two forms, and it's actually with these two that we identify what is a verb. Now, it's good to talk about this because at school we learned that verbs are doing words, which is really kind of unhelpful because to be, for example, is
Mimi, listen. Maite de Chile, listen to this. You can learn something. Maybe actually you can, because this is genius. Like, this is genius shit. At least to me it seems amazing.
It's good to talk about this because at school we learned that verbs are doing words, which is really kind of unhelpful because to be, for example, is there's nothing, you're not doing anything. If you say is, he is here, what is he doing? But is a verb. Is a verb because it comes from to be. We don't say he be here, we say he is here. So the way we identify what is a verb is that you can put to in front of it. To be, to stay, to go, these are verbs. And in Spanish, these are going to end in R. Either ar, or ir. Now,
Ir.
The way we get the
verbs.
I version is we take off this ending, we chop off this ar, or ir, and we put o. We have an example already. We know how is to try. What was to try?
Intentar.
Intentar.
Intentar. Good. And I try.
Intento.
Intento.
Intento. Good.
Wait, so
So we take off R and we put on O. But something else is happening as well. Intentar. Intento. Good. The accent.
yeah, intentar,
We have the
intento.
accent on the end.
Yeah.
When we put the O, the accent is just before it. Intento. Now this is extremely important. If I say intento, if I put the accent on the end, it means something else. It means he tried, which is going to be useful for us later.
Oh, he tried. Intentó. Intentó. He tried. Intento. Intento. Okay. Trying. Intentar, to try. Intento.
In the past. For now, we need to think that the accent in the present tense is going on the penultimate syllable, the second last syllable. Intentar is not present tense. It has no tense. It's the to form, to try. Part of the present tense, other than putting this o for I, is
Present.
also moving the accent. Intento.
Intento.
How would you say
Trying.
to donate?
Donation, donación, donar.
Good. Donar.
Donar. Donar, okay.
I donate. You take off the R and you put O.
So like,
Dono.
Yes. Dono.
okay. Dono. I donate. Yo dono. Yo dono. I donate. Donar, to donate. Dono, I donate. But you donate would be tu dones then? Hold on. Yeah, tu dones. Yo. So, okay. Donar, to donate. Yo dono, I donate. Tu dones, you donate. Él, ella, done. He, she, it donates, right? It has to be then done, yeah.
I don't donate or I'm not donating.
No dono, no dono.
No dono.
Good. No dono. How was to create?
So creation is creación. So it would be crear. Crear.
Crear.
Good. Crear. Creación.
So like to create crear. So I create, which is an interesting sentence, but it would be yo creo. Yo creo. You create would be tu creas. Tu creas? Yeah, tu creas. Okay, I was correct. Tu creas. He, she, it creates. Él, ella cree. Yeah, it's just crea. Yeah, ella, él, usted cree. He, she, you create. Yeah, it creates. So create. To create. Crear. I create. Yo creo. You create. Tú creas. He, she, it creates. Él, ella crea. Yeah. Man, it's a lot to think about.
I create.
Creo.
Creo. Good. Comer means to eat. So how do you say I eat?
Oh yeah, comer, yeah, because it's I know Duolingo. Yo como, tú comes, él, ella come. yo bebo, tú bebes, él, ella bebe. That's how I know that.
So I'm eating.
Como.
Good. I'm going to eat.
Yo como.
Voy a comer.
Good.
Voy a comer, interesting. Voy a comer, I'm going to eat. Voy, I'm going. I'm going to comer, eat. Because yo como is I eat. But I'm going to. In the future, I'm going to eat. Voy a comer. To eat. Yeah, because it makes sense. I'm going to eat. Voy a comer. Yeah.
Voy a comer. The word for late in Spanish is tarde.
Tarde, yeah, tarde.
You know this from English as well, because you have this slang in English,
Retarde.
in British English at least. Tardy. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
Tarde.
Tarde.
So how would you say I'm going to eat late?
Voy a comer tarde. Voy a comer tarde. I'm going to eat late, yeah.
Voy a comer tarde.
Good. Voy a comer tarde. You might have heard the word for tomorrow
Mañana.
in Spanish. Mañana. So how would you say, I'm going to eat tomorrow?
Voy a comer mañana. Yeah, voy a comer mañana.
Voy a comer mañana.
Voy a comer mañana.
Or today is hoy, so I'm going to eat today. Voy a comer hoy.
Now, in Spanish, if you have some kind of future context, something that's showing you that you're talking about the future, you can't just use the present. You can say, voy a comer mañana, or you can just say, I eat tomorrow. Because you have tomorrow showing you that you're talking about the future, it's absolutely perfect Spanish, even though it sounds a bit odd in English. It's perfect Spanish
Makes
to say,
sense.
I eat tomorrow. There's no problem there. So how would you say that?
I mean, it's like, so it would be, Joe, well, you don't need, Joe, it emphasizes, but it could just be like, como mañana, I eat, because it's not comer, because comer would be, I mean, my brain is free, I am steaming, it's so much information, I don't know, to me at least, but, comer would be to eat, but I eat tomorrow. It would yo como mañana, but you don't need the yo, so it's just como mañana.
Como mañana.
Como mañana. So if you wanted to say, I'm eating with Pablo tomorrow, I'm eating with Pablo tomorrow, you just say, I eat with Pablo tomorrow.
Well, actually, I do know from Duolingo. I think they probably talked about it. I remember from Duolingo. Con or sin, with or without. Sin is without, or sin, con is with. So it would be como con Pablo mañana. I'll eat with Pablo tomorrow. Como con Pablo mañana.
How do you say with?
Do you remember how to say to confirm?
Confirmación.
Confirmación. Confirmar.
Good. And what did that mean literally?
Confirmar. Yeah, I slept on that. Confirmar.
Confirm.
With signature.
So what is with?
Yeah, because firma means signature. So yeah, confirmación. Confirmación. Confirmar is to confirm. Confirmar. So firma is signature. Confirma with signature. Yeah. Confirmar.
Firma. Con.
Con. Good. So I'm eating with Pablo tomorrow?
As I've said, yeah. Como con Pablo mañana.
Como con Pablo mañana.
Good. Como con Pablo mañana. So we can just use the present. Or we can say I'm going to eat with Pablo tomorrow, and it's the same.
That would be I'm going to eat with Pablo. Voy a comer con Pablo mañana, or como con Pablo mañana. Voy a comer con Pablo mañana. Voy a comer con Pablo mañana. Mañana. Voy a comer con Pablo mañana. Como con Pablo mañana.
Voy a comer con Pablo mañana.
Good. Voy a comer con Pablo mañana. Very good. So we are taking off our ending. We are taking off our ar, or ir, and we are adding o to get the I version. We are also accenting the penultimate syllable, the syllable that comes before the last. What is to organize?
Organización. Organizar.
Organization. Organización. Organization. Organización. Organizar.
Good. Now, how do you say I organize?
Organizo.
Organizo. I was just mentioned for any.
Organizar. So you take away the R and it's okay. Organizar, to organize, organizar. You take away the AR, you add the O, organizo. Organization, organización, organizar.
But trying to keep up with the Spanish pronunciation, that Z there is going to be pronounced th. Organizo in Spain. Organizo. To have in Spanish is tener. Tener.
Yeah, tener. Wait. To have, tener, but wasn't it I have like tengo? Wasn't it I have? Isn't it tengo? But it's still yo tengo. I have.
Tener.
Tener. How would you say I want to have it? I want to have it.
Quiero tenerlo. Quiero tenerlo. I want to have it. It. Lo. You add the lo, don't you? Because quiero tener, I want to have. Quiero tenerlo, I want to have it.
Quiero tenerlo.
Good. I'm going to have it late.
I'm going to have it late. Voy a tenerlo tarde. I'm going to have it late. Voy a tenerlo tarde. Voy a, I'm going. Voy a, I'm going to have it, tenerlo later, tarde. Voy a tenerlo tarde.
Voy a tenerlo tarde.
Good. Voy a tenerlo
voy a
tarde.
tenerlo
If you
tarde.
want to say later, you can say more late. And the word for
Più?
more is mas.
Oh,
M-A-S.
Mas.
Relate.
I was thinking Italian. Più tardi. Later. Più, in Italian, più tardi. Más tarde. Más fácil. Much easier. Yeah. Más fácil. Yeah. I need to remember that. Más fácil. Much easier. Más tarde. Later.
To massive. So how is later?
Más fácil.
Más tarde.
Más tarde.
And the word for more is mas. M-A-S.
Más.
Relate to massive. So how is later?
Más tarde.
Más tarde.
Más tarde.
Más
Good.
tarde.
I'm going to have it later.
I'm going to have it later. Voy a tenerlo más tarde. Voy a tenerlo más tarde.
Voy a tenerlo más tarde.
Good. I will tell you something that's going to help you remember tener. Tener is a very interesting verb because other than to have, we can also translate it as tain. Contain is contener. Obtain, this tain is tener. So, how would you say obtain in Spanish? If contain becomes contener,
Obtener.
Tener.
yes.
Obtener.
Sustain, this one changes a little bit.
Obtain is obtener. I'm gonna have to revisit this lesson as well.
Sus, which is S-U-S, becomes S-O-S in Spanish.
Sostener.
Sostener, sustain, maintain. This main becomes man in
Mantener.
Spanish. So how would you say maintain?
Mantener.
Mantener.
Mantener. And if you heard entretener, what would you think it means? Entretener.
Entertain.
Entertain.
Yes. So it
Entretener.
changes a little bit, but you can recognize it. Entretener.
Entretener.
And entre in Spanish means between. You might hear in
Entre.
Spanish entre tú y yo. Between you and
Yeah,
I.
yeah.
Entre tú y yo.
Entre tú, yeah, entre tú, you. Entre tú and I, yeah.
Many languages express this idea of possession in different ways. In English and in Spanish, we have a simple verb, have, tener, to express possession. But Arabic, for example, you would say at me or with me instead of I have. So it's not a straightforward concept that all languages express in the same way, this concept
Yeah,
of
very
possession.
true, true.
In Turkish, for example, if you want to say, I have a car, you say, my car, there is. So it's not such a straightforward concept that we are expressing in all languages in the same way.
Yeah.
This concept of
And that's
possession.
difficult.
Something that's funny.
Especially if you're thinking like with your own language mind, or example, you're thinking with Lithuanian or English mind. You know, you're gonna translate, but a direct translation is not gonna always be correct. Yeah.
She's alluding to here is kind of the symbiotic relationship in ownership. When you own something, you also belong to it. You must maintain it, you must sustain it, you must contain it. It's a symbiotic relationship.
But that's, yeah, it's obtain, obtener, contain, contener, to have, tener. But it's yo tengo. Wait, so you have would be tienes, actually. You have tienes. So she has, tiene. And he has is also tiene. Yeah. He, she has is tiene. Tú, but tienes, you have, tienes. Interesting. But I have. Tengo, yo tengo, yeah. To have, tener. Obtener. Sostener, to hold. Tener, sostener. Contener. Obtener, entretener. Obtener. To get, to obtain, obtener. Very interesting, very interesting.
Don't just own things, you are also owned by them. To have is tener, and you also get these other verbs that you can use. Obtener, contener, mantener, sostener, entretener.
Mantener.
I
Sostener.
have is tengo. What happened here? What should it be?
Tengo.
Yes, it's what it should be, but it's irregular.
Yeah,
Has a
that's-
G popping up. But
Tengo.
the nice thing about the irregular verbs in Spanish is that we can group them together. There's always a little
Because, like, yeah, I looked, as you saw previously, it's like, tienes, you have, tienes. Tengo. Tiene.
group of verbs that do things in the same way. So, for example, what was to come?
Venir.
Venir.
Venir. Very good. Now, venir behaves like tener when it makes the I form. So, if tener becomes tengo, venir might become
Vengo.
Vengo.
vengo. Good. So,
Vengo?
I come is vengo. It's
Vengo.
irregular.
Vengo.
But we've already.
I come. Vengo, right? Vengo. And it's with a V, right? Yeah, it's written with a V. Vengo. I come. She comes. Viene. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna have to process this a bit later. That's a lot of information, honest. That's a lot of information. Yeah.
Verbs that have the same pattern of irregularity, and to think of them together helps us. Now, if you want to say I will come tomorrow, we don't know the word for will, but we don't need it because tomorrow is our future context. What is the word for tomorrow?
Mañana.
Mañana.
Good. So I'm coming tomorrow.
Vengo mañana.
Vengo mañana.
Vengo mañana. Very good.
And that was lesson 10. Oh my god. Holy shit. That was crazy. That was a lot of, like, I'm definitely gonna have to revisit that, because my mind is always a bit like focused sometimes on the video as well, but that was a lot. Yeah, main focus for me was like the tener, obviously, obtener, sostener, contener, with to have, tener, tengo, tienes, he, she, tiene. So if I want to make whole story, I just wanted to make a sentence. She has an apple. You would say, ella tiene una manzana. Ella tiene una manzana. She has an apple. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely revisit that lesson once more. It's definitely it's 12 minutes long, so it's definitely worth revisiting. But that was me learning Spanish and doing this in this type of format. So yeah, there's definitely gonna be a series of me learning Spanish. I'm also gonna do different things as well. I might do a Duolingo video. Who knows? I also sometimes do a little bit of dreaming Spanish now, but dreaming Spanish doesn't make sense. I can't do that because it's literally me just watching videos. It would be straight up a reaction video, but if I would be, no, that just wouldn't work. Dreaming Spanish would not work. I'm also actually I'm just ordered a book, a Lithuanian book, which is a Spanish exercise, well, not exercises, just learning Spanish book, but there are exercises, so I might do videos on those as well. I will actually, I'm not probably, but I will do videos on those. And if you want me to do another video on this sometime later, like see how much I improved in conversations, and yeah, definitely I can do a video on that as well, because that's the thing. When you're learning a language, you need to have multiple different sources. So language transfer is conversations. This is for talking. Dreaming Spanish is for just listening and trying to comprehend. It's for comprehension. Duolingo is just for convenience and building vocabulary. Duolingo can definitely build vocabulary, so it's all, but mainly it's convenience. And exercises are gonna be more for grammar. So yeah. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Again, if you're a Spanish speaker yourself, I know I have quite a few of those. You can, feel free to comment and help me out. Send stuff. Follow me on Insta. Send stuff there. And I will see you in my next ASMR video. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you this was meant to be relaxing, but for me, my brain is fucking fried, dude. Like, I am like, oh my goodness. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. So actually, just before I finish recording, I went on my Instagram and I got sent a meme, right? And maybe I'm gonna have to block a message, but she sends me stuff in Spanish. She's Chilean, but este gato tiene algo importante para ti. So este gato, this cat, tiene, so again it's have, to have. Algo means something, so this cat has something important para ti. So wait, para it has something important to you, right? For you, para, yeah, for, because like I know that perro is but perro, so para is for. Yeah, este gato tiene algo importante para ti. So I understand the sentence. So only one word I didn't understand. There was only one word I was confused about. But yeah, this cat tiene has something important for you. Este gato tiene algo importante para ti. Would that be the way I said it right now, fast? Is that understandable? Este gato tiene algo importante para ti.